Well, welcome to video 6 of the Warrior's Refuge. What you're looking at is the first one I did of the addition of the stripes to the flag. So if you'll hang on, I'll show you how we're going to do these. We'll be right back. All right, the first thing I had to do was to redraw my pencil lines so I knew exactly where my stripes are going to run, both vertically and horizontally. And I have to have the reference points of where they stop and where they start. And so I just took a straight edge and traced my lines again, so I knew exactly where to run them. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next scene, and that will be setting up, and I'll show you how we're going to get all these lines cut nice and straight. It's not a hard or complicated process. Pretty easy. So be right back. All right, what you're looking at is a real simple way to set up a guide system for the router base to butt up against, and that's what this top board is for. The bottom board is simply to sandwich the board I'm working on between this one and this one to clamp it in place and not cause any further damage or anything like that to the board. So what I want to do, I want to take the tip, and I'm keeping my finger away because this is plugged in, but I want to take the tip of the carving liner, and there's a point right here and a point right here that I align up with. And it's just real simple. I just take the router and I put the tip of that carving liner right there on the corner, and then I butt this top sheet against the router base, clamp it down. Now I take it over here to this side and I do the same thing into that corner. I butt the back top plate against the back of the router base, clamp it, and then you have to check and make sure that the other side is still in line, because when you shift one or the other, chances are you're going to move them just a little bit, ever so slightly. So you got to check and make sure that they're all done. Now I've already done all that, so now we're ready to go ahead and cut this first stripe. So this stripe's going to run from this corner right here to the edge of this circle, and then it's going to pick back up on the outside of the circle and come to the corner right here. So here we go. I'm going to show you how we do it. And just like that, we got our first line drawn. So in real time, I'm going to go ahead and set up for the next one, and I'll record that one for you and let you see just exactly how I go about setting it up. And so I'll just scoot the top board back a little bit, just give it a little bit of room. Now I'll bring the router up here, and I'll actually stick it in that first spot, and then with my body, I'll push the router or the top board against the back of the router base, and I'll tighten it down lightly. And then I'll come over here to the second set, and I've got to move it. So I've got to loosen up a little bit. put that back in, right in the spot where I want it. Got that pushed up against it. Okay, so the board is against the top board is against the back of the router base. It's in line there. We're going to come back and check this out over here. And we lucked out, that is still in line. So just snug up everything just a touch more, just to make sure it doesn't move on us. And we're ready to cut the second line. So here we go. And that's how quick and hello. That's how quick and easy it is to set up and knock these lines out. So I'm going to continue on, and I'm going to do the rest of them off camera. But this shows you exactly how I do it. It's not hard. You don't need to measure. All you're needing to do is just from point A to point B, make sure it stays in line, and then use a good square edge and keep it butted against the router base. Make your line. Now, you can get by doing this with a square router base, but the problem with a square base is, let me see if I can exaggerate this. Pretend that this straight edge is a router base that's square. And if I move this thing out just a little bit right there, I've got a taper from this edge right here almost all the way down to there. That's not good. If you have a round one, an oval shape or a round one, if you don't keep that router base exactly against the guide that you're using, it's not that bad. Especially if you're just pivoting, it's not that bad. If you use a flat square edge and you do that bevel and you make a move and you don't keep it flush, it exaggerates it. So the wider your base is, the more it's going to exaggerate it. So whenever you're doing a straight line with a guide in your router, try to use a round or an oval base, and you'll get much straighter lines that way. So, all right, I wanted to go ahead and give a better visual demonstration of what I was talking about with a square base or a round base against the guide. This is the standard DWP 611 router base that comes with your units. So I'm going to put the square base against it, and I'm just going to make a little mark right here in this slot. Okay. Now I'm going to take the straight edge and I'm going to hold it up against it, and I'm just going to exaggerate it. Let's just say we really twisted our base plate and we came out 1/4 of an inch. That's about 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to make another mark right there. And then I want you to see what kind of distance we have. Look at your gap. You're not going to have a straight line if you accidentally rotate your router base against that square edge. A little bit of a movement makes a whole lot of difference. Now let's take the round base and we're going to put it up against it, and I'm going to make the same mark, and I'm going to rotate this quite a bit, and we're going to put it right back, and look at here. There is virtually no distance gap at all. You're going to have a straight line all the way down the guided base. So if at all possible, use either a round or an oval base and keep that against your guide for a straight line all the way down. So I hope that makes sense. When I come back, like I said, I'll have all the flags done, and we will be shooting black layout and starting our painting process. So we'll be right back. All right, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this video. By adding the sequence of the visualization of the square base versus the round base against a guide, uh, added a little bit more time to my videos, but I thought it was very important and I wanted to get that in there. So I'm going to go ahead off camera and finish up all the carving of the flag lines. And so when I come back on the next video, we'll be masking off and getting ready to shoot the black on all of the signs, and then we'll get a real good visual of how these are going to be looking when we get further along with them. So I want to thank everyone who's followed me along the way. I appreciate the compliments, the comments, and all the questions I have received. Again, I want to encourage you to visit the Warriors Refuge website, which is down below. And I will see you real soon in the next video. In the meantime, hug all your family and friends, tell them you love them, and God bless.